Hello, everybody. Nick Morganson here from the Empty the Bench podcast network, host of the flagship podcast on the network, Empty the Bench. Here to talk some more NBA news as it comes through. About 20 to 25 minutes ago, Knicks star guard, Jalen Brunson expected out through late March, early April. And another situation going on with the Knicks, Mikal Bridges versus head coach Tom Thibodeau. Now, the Knicks have been playing halfway decent throughout the whole season. They've managed to avoid massive injuries throughout the season. But the Jalen Brunson injury is a massive injury. He is the leader of this team. He's now going to be out through late March to early April. And the team goes where he goes. They need him to be the leader. And when he's not there to lead, then you don't have anyone to follow. And this guy's an MVP of this squad. This guy, it's almost like, and I hate making this comparison because everyone makes this comparison, but it's like LeBron James right now who's out with a groin injury for the Lakers. The Lakers are a much different team without him being there. And that's going to be a problem when you don't have your leader to do what you do best to get people involved in the offense and do what they need to do properly to get the team going. Now, they're going to make the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to make the playoffs. No doubt. But when you don't have the glue that holds the team together, you're not going to go far for where you have to get things done to remain up top and to get to the ultimate main goal, which is to eventually win a title and to bring prosperity back to New York. And I thought Shams said it really well, that they need somebody. And by the way, Shams Charania of ESPN is the one who broke the report on NBA Countdown. But the Knicks are going to struggle without their leader. And if there are any New York Knicks fans watching this, I want to hear your reaction to this news that Jalen Brunson is expected to be out through late March, early April. Because that's your leader. That's your MVP. That's who you need to bring you to the promised land. Now, did I ever think the Knicks were going to win an NBA title this year? No. They were. Let's be real, everybody. And if there are New York Knicks fans, you need to admit to yourself that you were never going to win in an NBA championship. You just were not going to. You're not good enough to be an NBA champion this year. The Cavs are better than you. The Celtics are better than you. I would even go below the Knicks, who are the third seed currently in the Eastern Conference. I would probably take the Bucks. I would take the Pacers. I mean, those four teams and the Knicks, who are the top 5 seeds in the Eastern Conference, I would take those over the New York Knicks currently. And I'm going to get a bunch of screaming Knicks fans, which, by the way, I'm a Nets fan, so you can go, ha, whatever, your team stinks. I knew my team stinks, okay? So I'm just throwing that out there before everyone goes after me and says, like, you're a Knicks hater, which I'm not. I'm just pointing out the facts that I don't think the Knicks were ever they were never in contention for an NBA finals or an NBA title this year. I don't think they ever were in contention. I'm just telling you the honest facts as an NBA fan who's watched the NBA for a long time and has seen a lot of NBA games in my time. I'm 32 years old. I've watched a lot of games. The Knicks are not a championship squad. They're not. They have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of good players. I like the way their lineup looks. But Jalen Brunson is their legitimate star. I like Karl Anthony Towns, but Karl Anthony Towns has been a dud in the playoffs, going back to the Timberwolves days when he's a big man down low and he's not willing to fight and claw in the paint to make teams more aggressive, to force it so that people will double and triple team him down low. And so that way he can force the passes out, or not force, I should say, kick the passes out to make people wide open from the perimeter. So with Jalen Brunson being out for at least a couple of weeks to a month, Karl Anthony Towns is going to have to step up and be the team leader. And he never was a team leader in Minnesota. I dare someone to tell me otherwise, because Karl Anthony Towns was never a leader in Minnesota. He was a star player. I'm not taking that away from him at all. He is a star player. But he still has nothing to prove, or he doesn't have that track record to show, hey, I'm going to take over. I'm going to dominate this. I'm going to dominate this situation. Because Jalen's out, all right, I got to step up and be the captain and be the leader that needs to be shown that I can do what I need to do with Jalen Brunson being down. I will step up and do all the scoring. That's just not reality. That's like make-believe, if you ask me. The Knicks, like I said, have a lot of questions. And the whole other part of this report, which came out as well, Shams said this on NBA Countdown on ABC and ESPN, that apparently there was a situation going on with Mikal Bridges and head coach Tom Thibodeau, that apparently Mikal Bridges was playing too many minutes. And first of all, have we become a bunch of babies as athletes? Because when I grew up in the 90s, in the early 2000s, I was born in 93. So I saw a whole different style of basketball. There was no such thing as load management. There was no such thing as I'm not willing to play as many minutes to get out on the court. There was no management like Joel Embiid or other guys, or Kawhi Leonard just saying, I'm not going to play because I need a day off for load management. That didn't exist. That was never a thing in the 90s. Can you imagine if in today's game, like what they saw, if in today's game happened in the 90s? Oh, I need a load management day. Oh, I broke a nail. I sneezed and I hurt my back. Like, you're seeing ridiculous injuries and guys sitting out, and then they need a week off to recover from such a pansy of an injury. Today's NBA guys are not tough. They're soft. These guys don't want to play every last minute. They don't want to do whatever it takes to win games. They just don't. And that's why you're seeing more of these situations arise. Now, I'm not saying that Jalen Brunson was injured or slightly injured. He got hurt. Got a leg injury. So it takes some time to recover from it. But I just think today's NBA athletes are soft in that regard. Now, I know I talked about the LeBron groin injury on Moving the Goalposts with Nick DiMartino. I was on that episode co-hosting with him. And I remember just saying, all right, he's got the injury, a legitimate injury. But at the same time, I'm not and I've been labeled as a LeBron James hater before. And let me be clear also. I respect the game of LeBron James. I just don't like him as an individual or his personality or anything in that regard. So I have a problem with his personality, not his game. He's been for the most part, a strong specimen physically for 22 to 23 seasons or years/seasons in the NBA. So the guy does whatever he has to do to stay on the court. Last couple of years, a little more injuries, more mileage on the body. Just broke 50,000 points combined. He's won quite a few titles. So he really has nothing left to prove, but he just wants to be out there more for his own dignity because he really doesn't have to be out there anymore. But on the Jalen Brunson front, the Knicks really need him. They really need him a lot if they want any chance, and that's a small glimmer of hope of possibly competing for a title. They need him badly, with a capital B, badly, if they want any chance. And just to be clear also, even if he gets back on court, or they manage to get him through his injury, they still have to get him healthy. And by the way, ankle sprains are not easy injuries to play through. Like they say, like it's hard to play through a hamstring strain. Like, you got to be careful because you could aggravate that injury and be out longer or for the season. So they're going to take their time to get through the injury. But here's the issue. And I'm not saying they should force him back on the court right away, but they got to get him healthy. And they need to get him back within a certain amount of time so that we're not knocking the rust off going into the playoffs. And I look at their record currently. If I can pull the standings up here, I have them. They're currently 42-23. They're third in the Eastern Conference standings. So they're currently playing the Golden State Warriors as we speak, and there's 5 minutes left in the first half, and Golden State is winning 41-39. That's live currently right now on ABC and ESPN. But I think they're going to lose the game tonight. I understand they're only down 41-39 currently as this stream is live, but I think they're going to lose tonight. The Bucks are currently 5 games out behind the Knicks in the 4th seed. Now, if the Brunson injury is way worse than what's being reported, I could see the Knicks dropping a few spots. Okay, so I was just looking at it too. The Bucks and the Pacers are both 37-28 and 5 games. They're tied with the same record, so they're both 5 games out behind the Knicks. Anything could change within the next 2 to 3 weeks to a month. Because if you don't have Jalen Brunson, the chemistry all goes through him, and some of that could be lost. I don't know. Let's see what the Knicks can accomplish without Jalen Brunson. Because when you don't have your leader, everyone else just becomes a follower. And when you're not used to leading, it's a whole different experience trying to get a team to the finish line to win games. Now, I want to pull up the Knicks schedule because that'll tell me, I'll tell you right now what I think their record could possibly be. So let me just quickly, here, I have the full schedule. Scroll down here. So currently, like as I said, right now they're playing the Warriors on ABC, and that game is close going into the half. So they're at Golden State currently. Then the next stretch of games is not too bad, but without Jalen Brunson, that probably changes the attitude and the motivation in some of the games. So they're versing Miami. They could lose that one. At San Antonio, they should win. Wemby's out for the year. And who else? They had another injury that I'm losing off the top of my head, but I know Wemby's out. And who did they just acquire from the Kings? De'Aaron Fox. Okay, so De'Aaron Fox is out for the rest of the year. Wemby's out the rest of the year. They should win in San Antonio. That shouldn't be an issue. Then they play at Charlotte. I wouldn't say Charlotte is a slouch by any means, but they should win. They should win. So that should be a win. San Antonio should be a win. So let me just go back over that because I forgot to say dates. So after tonight, they have a day off. They play again Monday versus Miami. I don't know if they're going to win that game. I just think Miami's a better team. And without Jalen Brunson, that makes it worse. So I think they'll lose against Miami at home on Monday. Then they go on the road to San Antonio. Like I said, no De'Aaron Fox, no Wemby. I wouldn't sleep on Castle, who is a really good young stud, young superstar. But I just think the Knicks are a better team than San Antonio. And with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox out, I just don't think they have a chance. At Charlotte, they should win. Except for, why am I forgetting his name off the top of my head? If I can quickly find the name, I'll tell you. LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball, who got a max contract this past offseason. But they should win that game. Now, shoulda, woulda, coulda, but they should win. Then they play Washington at home. Be careful, that could be a trap game. That's all I'll say. Then they play Dallas at home. Dallas is riddled with injuries. So Kyrie's done for the year. And Dallas has been a mess. So I think they'll win that game at home. Then Wednesday, 26th, they play the Clippers. They might lose. They're probably going to lose that one. At Milwaukee, which is interconference and a big game. The end of the month. That's in Milwaukee. They could lose that game, which would be major in the standings, a tiebreaker scenario. And at the end of the month, they play Portland, which you never know which Portland team you're going to get. And then just because they said early April, like the first week of April versus Philadelphia, they should beat Philadelphia, but you never know. Then the schedule gets a little bit interesting. April 2nd at Cleveland. I think they're going to lose that game by far. They might get crushed in that game, actually. Then they have 3 days off. And then April 5th at Atlanta. They should win that game, but again, Trae Young just completely obliterates and owns the Knicks. So that could be a loss. Then they play Phoenix. You don't know what you're going to get out of Phoenix. You have a bunch of stars in Phoenix, and they don't win games. Then they got Boston. Who knows if Boston's really going to be playing their starters at that point. But if they are, they probably will lose that game. Then they're at Detroit, which, again, Detroit's not a slouch. So I'm not going to say they're going to lose, but they could lose. Then they have Cleveland again, depending on, since it's the end of the year, maybe they're not playing their starters as much, they're resting. And then at Brooklyn. But that's going to be a throwaway game. So I wouldn't say the schedule is easy, but you better pray to whatever God you pray to. And you better hope that Jalen Brunson is healthy. Because I'll tell you right now, if Jalen Brunson is a serious injury and they pretty much just say, shut it down, you can't play, it's over. It's over. Knicks fans, it's over if Jalen Brunson doesn't play. That's what I'm trying to tell you here. So you better pray and thank your lucky stars. Or I should say thank, because you can't say anything yet. But you better pray Jalen Brunson comes back healthy. Because, like I said, a leader is a leader. And you need someone to lead your team to the promised land here. I want to see the Knicks succeed. I'm from the New York area. I'm in Long Island. Now, like I said, I'm a Net fan. I'm a Brooklyn Net fan, which means I'm a miserable NBA fan. But I've watched a lot of NBA basketball over the years, I should say. And let's just say the NBA is much better when the Knicks are a better squad, a better team. When the New York market can be involved in the playoffs, it makes everything better. But if the Knicks, and by the way, I saw the reports that James Dolan is never going to sell the Knicks or the Rangers or MSG Arena. So you better pray that Jalen Brunson comes back and they make a stretch run. I'm dead serious here. They need to make a stretch run because there's nothing else that James Dolan touches that is going to turn into gold. Everyone thought the Rangers were going to be the first as they made a run. They didn't win. This is not a bad New York Knicks team. And I like Mikal Bridges, by the way, also. But that whole argument that went down, supposedly that Mikal Bridges said he was playing too many minutes, and then apparently Shams Charania, who was on NBA Countdown, said that they've squashed it. I don't know if they squashed it. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes with the Knicks. But I can tell you right now, Knicks fans are probably saying, oh, God, here we go again. Here we go again. More drama. More drama with the Knicks head coach and the management. What are we going to do now? Like, are we going to have to sound the alarms? Like, what do we do? I just want my team to be good. I want our team to make a stretch run. But I'm too busy getting punched out with all these injuries and drama going on at the most famous arena in New York. But I don't know what to expect and what to really think about this Knicks squad until Jalen Brunson comes back. So I guess you have to hold judgment until we really know what is going to happen. But hopefully he comes back. Hopefully he's healthy, number one. But I really don't want to do this. But if he doesn't come back, then you're going to hear this sound. Because the alarms are going to sound. But I'm not jumping to a conclusion yet. It's probably, like they said, it was an ankle sprain. But you're going to take a few extra days or a week to really assess this injury with the medical team and make sure he's right to get back out on the court. Because you signed him to a decent-sized deal. You don't want to destroy his career before the contract gets started. All right? Do you want to make a run this year? Yes. After what happened last year and actually making it into the second round, the goal, the prerogative, is to go further. Of course, that is the goal. But you're not going to risk Jalen Brunson's career being over just so you can make one playoff stretch. I just don't see that happening. So we'll see what happens with the Knicks. I hope that he comes and does what he needs to do. So Just wait it out, Knicks fans. I'm telling you. Because hopefully the plan is he gets his rest. Hopefully you don't lose too many games, which force you deeper down the seeding. Because the deeper you go down the seeding, I think you're going to be playing some more dangerous teams than you really want to play. The idea is just to tread water until he comes back. And if you tread water and you just stay enough, you don't drown, then hopefully he comes back, he's healthy, you make a run. You're not going to win an NBA Finals, so let's just be honest right up front. And Knicks fans, you can yell at me all you want. I don't care. But the Knicks are not winning a title this year. Go ahead. I'm willing to take all the hate because the Knicks are not winning a title at all. Same thing with the Lakers. Okay, with the LeBron James groin injury. They were not going to win a title with him on the court or without him on the court. That's all just a figment of our imagination, to be honest. It's all a pipe dream because himself and the media think, oh, well, if you have LeBron James on your team, you're going to win an NBA title. That's all well and good, but he's 40 years old. So the media can make up all this bullshit that it wants. They're not winning a title. The Knicks are not winning a title. And I think it's going to be Cleveland or Boston or Oklahoma City, even though with Oklahoma City, I said it last year and I'm going to say it again. I think that Oklahoma City is not going to win either. Are they a massive contender? Are they running away with the number one seed in the Western Conference? Yeah, they are. But I just don't see them winning. But those are teams that the Knicks and the Lakers are going to have to contend with. So I think there's too many obstacles for the Knicks to come over, including injuries. And I think this is like the worst time for an injury because after today's game, it'll be 65 games. And just an update, the Warriors are up 54-50 at halftime. But I just see there being too many obstacles. They are going to lose some games throughout this month, for the rest of this month, because they're going to not have that Jalen Brunson push to win some of these games. It's just what's going to happen. And I think by the time Jalen Brunson comes back, the Knicks could be a 5 seed. I really think they're going to be a 5 seed, which means they're going to either play Milwaukee or they're going to play Indiana again. So it's going to be another competitive playoff run. But I think they're going to fall apart again in the playoffs. Now, I know they played the Pacers last year and it went 7 games. And you could say, oh, well, the Knicks played really hard for the city of New York. No doubt. No one's questioning that. But I just don't think the Knicks have enough. I don't think they ever had enough to win this year. If they had gotten Donovan Mitchell, maybe it's a different situation. But, and by the way, Donovan Mitchell is tearing it up in Cleveland. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. So, who knows if he would have even been good in New York? Nobody knows. But that'll pretty much do it for this stream here on the ETB network. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB network, where we have all our podcasts up there. Hitting for the Cycle, Empty the Bench, which is the podcast I do with Anthony Ballister. Football Forecast Offseason, which is new. We usually do Football Forecast for our NFL Picks show. We extended it to the NFL offseason. And a bunch of other shows that we have on the network as well. Make sure you check out our ETB Network Substack, etbnetwork.substack.com, for a bunch of our bonus content where we do some gambling content. We have, what do we have up there? We have Baseball Bonanza, which is our baseball Substack. We have Alley-Oop Analytics, which is a NBA Substack that I do with my co-host Anthony Ballister. We have some NCAA college sports. Let's see. We also have Zan Zinger, which is another one of our guys, Zan Bando, who hosts Bando's Breakdowns. And we have a whole lot of other things up there on the ETB Network Substack. So etbnetwork.substack.com. It's $5 a month or $60 for the year. I promise you it is worth it. So please, if you could spend the $5 a month or $60 for the year, I promise you will get full value and more on that as well. That'll do it for this live stream. If you missed the news, like I said, Knicks, Jalen, Brunson expected out through late March, early April. And you had to make a Hellbridges versus Tom Thibodeau minutes discussion. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully the Knicks will figure it out, but we'll see what happens. I'm Nick Morganson. This has been another live stream on the ETB Network, live on YouTube and Twitter accounts. I will see you next time. Have a good night, everybody.